Hi and welcome everyone. I'm Lisa, creative team member for Whimsy Stamps. So today I have a quick walkthrough to show you how to merge your digital stamps into your Silhouette Studio software to print those out and then cut them out with your Silhouette machine. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the size of my page setup here. It's at 12 by 12 right now, and we usually print on 8.5 by 11 paper, so I want to go ahead and set my page to 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to come over here to the page setup and click on that, and then just go ahead and change the width to 8.5 and the height to 11 inches, and then we're good to go. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add registration marks. The machine needs those registration marks so it'll know exactly where to cut when you run it through your Silhouette. So we're going to come up on the page setup and click on this third little icon over here at the top, and it's going to bring up our registration marks. You're going to see style. You're going to scroll over to that down arrow and click there, and it's going to bring up type 1 and type 2. If you have a cameo, curio, or a portrait, you want type 1. If you have an original, you want type 2. Most of us have type 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click type 1, and now you can see we have these registration marks. The next thing we're going to do is go over to File, and then click merge and pull in our image. So I'm going to be working with PNG files. That's my favorite type of file to work with when I do use digital stamps. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little cutie and bring him into my work area. We're also going to hit File and bring in our sentiments. Now, the areas there between the registration marks, you want to try not to place anything in there. Sometimes it will work okay, sometimes it won't, but it's recommended that you don't place anything in between those registration marks at the top there. Okay, so here's our sentiments to go with these cuties. We're going to slide him out of the way. Now, I only want to use one sentiment from this, and I want to do this as quick and simple as I can. Now, I'm sure there's someone else will tell you 100 different ways to do this, but for me, this is going to be quick and simple. I want that one sentiment, real heroes wear scrubs. I'm going to come over here to the left of my screen, and I'm going to click on this knife. I am going to click left and drag a red line across the top and across the bottom. Then go back up and click on my arrow for selecting. Select and click delete on your keyboard to get rid of the rest of those sentiments that we're not using. I'm a firm believer in keeping it simple. So to duplicate that, we're going to click on our first sentiment, right click on it, and then just click duplicate. Let's go ahead and bring in our second image real quick, and then I'm going to show you how to add your cut lines around these. I'm going to do one that's going to cut right on the printed line, and then we're going to do one that has an offset, which is going to give you some white space around your image. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and click on the image. Then we're going to come over here to the right, and we're going to click Select Trace Area. This is the trace button over here. So go ahead and click that, and then you're going to come up and click Select Trace Area. Go over, and you're going to see little crosshairs there on your screen. You're going to left click on your mouse and hold that button down. Drag and drop this box over your image. Now, if for some reason you don't get the whole image in there, just grab a hold of one of those little white boxes there and drag and pull your box until you're completely covering that image. The whole image needs to be in that box. You'll see some yellow lines there. They're not solid lines, and we need them to be as solid as we can get them to be. So I'm going to come over and adjust the threshold, and you can see right away that it's really kind of started to get rid of all of those broken lines and make those solid lines. So You can also come over to the scale and adjust the scale a little bit if you want. Once you have the lines done, you're just going to click Trace Outer Edge, and you can see it traced around our image. So that's our cut line. So now I want to show you how to do one with an offset. So we're going to go ahead, click on the image, then go over and hit that trace button. And then we're going to do the same thing where we select trace area, left click on our mouse, drag and drop the box over the image. And you'll see those yellow lines. We're going to do our adjustments on the lines, and we're going to work with that threshold and the scale just a little bit, and then click Trace Outer Edge again. So now we have our cut line there, but we want to put a little bit of white space between the printed image and where it's actually going to cut. So come over here to your offset button and click on that. And you'll have your offset box pop up. Now, one thing I want to point out is you have to make sure that you have your trace line, that red trace line has to be selected. If you have the image selected, it's just going to put that red trace, red line, a square red line around your image. So make sure you're clicked on that trace line. Once you're clicked on the trace line, go ahead and click offset, and then it's going to give you that offset line around your image. Now you can make that larger or smaller. It's completely up to you how far away from the image you want to cut or how close to the image you want to cut. I usually do mine at about 1.25. You can adjust that with these up and down arrows right here. And once you're happy with it, you're just going to click apply. Now you need to get rid of one of these because those are actually cut lines. So let's get rid of that trace line by clicking on it and then clicking delete on our keyboard. You want to make sure you have that trace line selected. For our sentiments, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select our trace area, left click on our mouse, drag and drop that box over it. Go ahead, adjust our threshold and our scale if we need to, and then click Trace Outer Edge. Then we're going to make sure that we have that red outline selected, because if we don't, it's just going to put a box around our sentiment. So make sure that we are selecting that red trace line and then hit your offset button, and there's your offset line. Now you can see there's some areas in there that are going to cut, and we don't want those. So what we're going to do is actually come over here to our edit points. Click on that, and you're going to see you get all these little gray points. Click on one of those points in there and then hit delete on your keyboard, and continue doing that until you delete them all so it won't cut that area. Now, I don't like the way that the lines are right there between the R and the S. So I'm actually going to play around with those edit points a little bit and adjust that to my liking. So all you have to do again is just make sure that you have all those little gray edit points up. Just click on your line and then hit that edit point on the left side. And then you can click on the edit points, delete them, pull them down, adjust them, whatever it is you want to do. One thing you want to remember is if you're adjusting the edit points and you do something that you're not happy with, just click undo, and it will take you right back to the last point you were at. So it's not like you can't fix something that you're not happy with. So just keep that in mind. So here we're adjusting our line around our image. Now, if that space that was there doesn't bother you, then by all means leave it. But I didn't like the way that it looks, so I wanted to adjust it. So now that we have all of our images merged onto our page, we have them outlined with our cut lines, we have our sentiments ready, we need to print this out. So what we need to do is come up to our file in the top left corner, click on that, and you're going to get a drop down box. And now you can go to page setup and make sure that your page is exactly the way that you want it when you print. Mine's good. I'm going to go back up to file, click it, scroll down to print, and then I'm going to tell this to print on my printer. Now you need to make sure that you have your printer connected to your Silhouette software so that they work together, and it'll tell you how to do that in your instruction manual. Now that we have this printed, we can bring it into our craft room. We can put it on the cut mat, send it through the Silhouette, cut it out. You can color it. You can first and then cut it out if you want, if you're brave and want to take that chance. I never do. I always cut my images out first, just in case something goes wrong. I didn't just spend an hour coloring images to have the machine eat them. So here's what your printed out version will look like. It has only the little black square and black lines as your registration marks. So there's a quick walkthrough to use your digital stamps in your Silhouette Studio software. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you enjoyed joining me today. I appreciate you watching. Be sure to share this video with your friends. Click subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of new content to the channel. And just please know how much we appreciate you, and we hope you have an amazing day.